Hello everyone. So in this video, I will let you know how to calculate the chi-square based on two categorical variables. So by using Excel, you will be able to find the chi-square statistic. And based on the degrees of freedom, you will be able to find the chi-square critical in the table. Then you can compare chi-square critical and chi-square statistic to reject or not reject your fail to reject your null hypothesis. So we can compare those variables. So in observed, like FO as observed a number of the frequencies. In the column, this is the variable as less than high school and over college, which is the categorical we know. So this is ordinal variable. And white and African American and other, maybe we can know that this is categorical variable. So in theory, this relationship is not very available because in the order of the independent and the dependent variable, we should have some causal relationship. But in this table, it says their level of education can impact on their race. So it means that their education level can change their race level. So that is not usually possible. But as this is an example of the calculation, I will keep this relationship and showing this is not correct. This is not correct relationship between independent and dependent variable. But anyway, let's make it. So we have that intersection between the less than high school and the white. We know that there are 22 people, high school and white, 25 and over college and 27. So for white, we have 74 cases in our sample. For African American, there are 3 levels of the education and 42 cases in our sample. In other races, we know that 11, 18, 10, so there are 39. So the grand total in the row means the sum of the row in the white and African American and the other race category. And the grand total of the column means the sum of the number, regardless of the race, the sum of the column as less than high school and over college. So you can know what grand total means in there. And the grand total, the total number of observation is the sum of the whole number. So that is, as you can see, the sum of all the numbers here. And then, So this is the sum of the row numbers, sum of the rows. So you can see those numbers. So in this case, when you have this kind of the frequency table, you can add up the grand total by yourself and then make those two tables. So in this equation, you can know that the sigma, the square difference between the f, the frequency of the observed number, minus frequency of the expected number, divided by frequency of the expected number. And the expected number can be calculated by the grand total of the row I. The grand total number of the number here, and the grand total of the row will be 74 when we are filling out the 22 in the expected frequency. And grand total column is J here, 45. So we are using 74 and 45 in this equation, and then divided by total number of observation will be 155. So in this equation, so we are checking the less than high school and white here. So 22 is the column and so the cell we are filling out in the expected frequency. So now we are using the 22 as our expected frequency, but we are filling out the cell of the combination between less than high school and white. So grand total I is the row of the first row, 74. So this number multiplied by the grand total of the Z. So so we are using this number as the standard and go down. So 45. Okay, divided by total number of observation, and enter. So in this case, it's a very important thing. If we drag it down, that is the problem. Okay, so it will generate the error option because you can know that. So if you just toggle down that handle, it means that you can change the address of those numbers. So it means that you don't have the numbers in the calculation. So in this case, instead of the toggle down, I highly recommend you to just the manual putting of the information. So we are just checking the African American and less than high school, and we are using 12s in the cell of 12. So the row total is 42 multiplied by, so the column total is 45 divided by total number of cases. Enter. So it's the same way. Okay. And then other races and less than high school. Okay. Grand total row is 39 multiplied by grand total column divided by total number of observation. Okay, so we found the scare of the no, not scare. So we found the expected frequency of the less than high school. So we are doing same. The grand total multiplied by grand total of the column divided by total number of cases. So it's a little bit tedious process, but we can do easily without. Okay, divided by total number of cases. Right? Is so 80 is number 18, so 39 multiply 60 divided by total number of cases. Okay, trust me. So as I mentioned this maybe last Thursday, through my search of the textbooks, so many textbooks, it is the best way. It is the easiest way. Okay, so we are using 27 as over college and the white. So over college white in the cell. So grand total here and over college column. Okay, column total. Grand total column is here divided by total number of cases. Okay, so 42 multiplied by 50 divided by this number. Okay. Okay, so 10, we are using this cell. 39 multiplied by 50 divided by 155. Okay, so now we calculate the FE as expected frequency. Yeah, right. So we are finding the chi-square of each number and each cell. So that will be, we know that this is sum, so we will sum later. So we are just finding this part as the square difference between the expected frequency and the observed frequency and the expected frequency divided by the expected frequency. So this is the observed frequency and this is the expected frequency. Then we can start from the parentheses and this number minus expected frequency of the less than high school in the white. Okay, close the parentheses, have 2 as a square divided by expected frequency. Okay, so in this calculation, we are not changing the address of number, so we are not changing number somewhere here and here together. So in this time we can just apply the toggle here like this. Okay, so let me double check. So this number, observed number of the less than high school African American minus the expected frequency of the less than high school and the African American, and then square and divided by the same number as expected frequency. So we can know that we can apply those calculations. So this is the calculation we can make. So our calculation will be the chi-square calculated, so that is sum. So sum of all those numbers. So that will be drag it all together. And alright, so the chi-square calculated is a 2.04 something. Maybe we can make the round off. And let's find the chi-square critical. So r minus 1. So this is the number of the rows in this table. So there are 1, 2, 3. So that will be 3 minus 1. That will be 2. So column minus 1 is 1, 2, 3 columns, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. So degrees of freedom, so use r minus 1 multiply c minus 1. So that will be, so It's too easy, but no. So let's do 2 multiplied 2 is 4. So degrees of freedom is 4, and our probability is 0.05. So we are using 0.05 in the chi-square table. I already in the Moodle. And then the 4 is here, okay, and the intersection is 9.488. So 9.488. So in this calculation, in this example, so we can know that, so the chi-square critical is here, so 9.488, but our calculated chi-square statistic is below chi-square critical. So in this result, we would need to fail to reject the null hypothesis. Fail to reject the null means those two categorical variables are independent, so they are not associated. So this is the total process of the calculation by using the Excel. So it might be a little bit complex compared with the other calculations. So I highly recommend you to work on the in-class assignment as a practice. Okay, thank you for your time and see you in the next video.